Oklahoma Watch had an interesting article, State Contractor Verifying Petitions for Recreational Marijuana Initiative. So we are paying Shepard Research, which runs Soonerpoll, and Kyle Lovelace, who I guess works there now to help manage this, who got in trouble with the Ethics Commission for like using campaign money on stuff he wasn't supposed to. They're out verifying signatures for the ballot measure, and it seems like it's like really slowing down the process, because it used to be the Secretary of State's office that would just verify them, and I think they had more of like a spot verification method. So now they're trying to verify every signature, which I kind of hate anyway, because like the way petitions are written, like it's pretty difficult to verify exactly a voter, like if they moved, or like John Smith. I mean, there's probably 100 John Smiths in the voter file. How do you know you got exactly the right one? And like just because they moved recently, so their address may not match if they wrote their new address. Anyway, there's just a lot of ways I think legally you could challenge the government's ability to even verify signatures on a ballot. But I'm sort of digressing there. But anyway, I don't trust these people at all. And Shepard is a known right-wing nut job. So it's like, if it's a ballot measure like legalizing cannabis that he's against, is he going to do a nonpartisan job verifying signatures? And I would argue that he will not. So anyway, I find this all very kind of concerning. Just the lousiness of the contractor they've gotten, and just the direct ability now of the state to inject partisan politics into a process that it should not be put into. Anyway, and this article gave me like very little hope that this process is going to be untampered with, if that makes sense.
So Michelle Tilley, who she was the campaign director on the adult use petition, she also worked with us on 816 last year. I think it's really interesting. She said in the article that they actually have people watching the count.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, y'all got poll watchers for the petition. I love it. But what does that actually look like? And how does it work? And if and when it comes time to challenge this count, what does that mean?
Right. Because, I
Um,
mean, if you
I have a
Google,
lot.
like, or Google, sorry, if you look up a voter, a fairly common name in the voter file, you can find, like, you know, uh, Susan Parker or something. You know what I mean? Like, just pick any combination of, like, sort of common names. Like, you will have multiple of them often in the voter file. And presumably they're different people because they have different ages, different birthdays. But if like depending on what your verification process is, like if you're just saying if it's not a perfect match, we're throwing it out. I mean, somebody could move. They're still a registered voter technically, a legal voter by the law of the initiative petition process. Do you throw it out because their address doesn't match, even though legally they are a voter in the state of Oklahoma? Anyway, it's really concerning to me how they could do this. And I mean, I think the state should err on the side of just, because remember, this is just a petition to allow it to go to a vote. Like, this doesn't change the law. This is just saying, hey, enough people said we're cool with this, let's see it. And I would just hate for stuff to get thrown out because the state decides to ratchet up like how like specific they are about the signature process and kick stuff off the ballot. Like, to me, that's just really anti-democratic. It's really potentially fucked up. So anyway, I haven't talked to Michelle in a long time, but I'd love to find out, like, how are they verifying this, and how, can't think of the right word, critical
It's
they're being about it.
also it's also really interesting to note how hard the legislature has been coming at the initiative petition process as a whole over the last two sessions at least. I know that we recently passed some bill that has to do with the validation of the signatures, meaning that originally, every signature was considered valid, I believe,
Right.
until proven invalid. And now it's the complete opposite of that. And so even just validating signatures, just like you were saying, is it's just the whole situation. This is not time efficient. I don't think this is a good use of time or taxpayer dollars.
No, I mean, they're paying hundreds of
Um,
thousands of dollars
and
for an annual contract and then labor on top of it. So no, I mean, it's going to cost the state a ton of money to go through this hoopla.
yeah, and it just literally, we are using taxpayer dollars to have to fill in the gaps for the inefficient processes our government created. And I don't like that shit ever in any case. Like, they need to figure it out.
Well, and to your point, they've tried to pass laws governing the initiative petition process, and they haven't been very successful at it. And frankly, if they got like one of the big ones on, like raising the signature threshold or making it like, I think one of the ones they tried to do to like really kill it was like make it no longer like a 50-50 thing and it had to be a 60-40 thing where like it had to pass with 60%. I think the voters would outright reject that stuff because I think the voters like having the option, you know, like they like being able to say like, you know, let's legalize medical marijuana or let's pass Medicaid expansion, even though the entire legislature and the governor and everyone opposes it. Voters said, actually, we like this. So I don't see the voters like taking away their own power. So the way the legislature's gotten around it is passing these like fishy, murky bills to spend a shit ton of money to possibly just throw out signatures that are just depending on subjectively how you defined it are probably good signatures. And that's super dastardly in my book. Because they couldn't get the real reforms through. Like, I think voters
Yeah.
would reject them.
I mean, and if we even wanted to take it back to the like historical principles that this state was founded upon, if we give that much fucks, like, you know, the people who wrote the state constitution didn't want the government to just have all this power, which is why they gave us things like initiative petitions and, you know, other ways for the people to reign superior, I guess. I don't know, but, you know, ways for us to have our
Yeah.
voices heard in civic engagement. And I think like with the Stitt administration and even before him maybe, but like especially as we progress, we see our state government and legislature trying to make our voices less and less heard and give themselves more and more power, especially our executive branch. It's like
Yeah.
fascism.
Yep. Thanks for watching our video. Please give it a like and hit that subscribe button for more content. If you want to engage with us, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram.